Reconnect with Rockers. I love reconnecting with rockers, but I love reconnecting even more with good friends of New Jersey. And my friend Mike Protich is here. And first of all, I don't really know. I have to get the new way of introducing you now, and I'll tell you why. Because when everybody was sending me links for the Violent and saying, who do you think this is? Do you think you'll know who this is? It took me 3 seconds to figure out your amazing, distinctive vocals. So for those of you who may not know, and we've been on the record since literally the day of its release, Mike was also in Red Sun Rising, which was a WDHA favorite band. So I'm going to rewind a little bit back to the last time we saw each other. You guys were either doing, and I can't remember right now, it was either a Rock the Park or an End of Summer Meltdown show at the PNC Bank Arts Center. And I remember watching this set and watching you command a crowd who busted in very early to make sure they saw the band. And I was like, man, Jersey loves these guys. So do you feel the love in the state of New Jersey? Because you've always been a band that's translated so well with DHA listeners and rock fans here. Absolutely.
I mean, I feel like over the years with Red Sun Rising, we had several stops at your station.
Oh yeah.
You know, everything from the Starland Ballroom. Then we did Asbury Park. Like we've done so many cool little, big shows, but then the really cool headline shows. Like New Jersey, I feel like was one of the first, when we did our first headline tour ever, New Jersey was like, well, we have to hit Jersey. Like that was a no-brainer. And we were glad we did, because that was one of the best, most memorable shows on that tour. Because, first of all, you guys are all nuts in like the most lovable way. Like when
that's Jersey. Yeah.
When tour, first of all, when you post a tour and there's not Jersey on it, it's like, well, where's Jersey? Where's Jersey? Like you're always the first. And I love that about you guys.
Yeah. I remember when you guys posted on your socials, on the Red Sun socials, that the band was no more. I started getting people hitting me up personally, asking what happened. And things, look, in music, things change. In everything, things change. And unless you're evolving and moving on and moving forward, people don't really know what reasons things change for. But I think people are really, really happy to know that you are back with some of the guys and making new music. And I also wanted to talk a little bit about, you guys were always a radio band, part of that terrestrial community, which is a little bit different sometimes than the streaming communities. Nothing against the streaming communities. I've worked in both. But, like you just mentioned, the radio shows, coming out to the station, doing the meet and greets with people, doing the things where, we've got listeners coming into the studio, you guys having lunch with people, you guys are just always, we're always kind of that band. So talk to me about the decision to sort of say, hi, we're leaving point A and moving on to point B.
I think, the analogy that I typically use for the Red Sun Rising, resolution was pretty much, people meet something, you might meet a woman or a guy and you're like, I'm going to spend the rest of my life with this person. You're dating for a long time. It feels great. And you're just so in love. And then years down the road, you figure out you want different things and you get divorced. It happens in life. It happens in relationships, and it certainly happens with bands. And it's not always like someone's fault either. It's just kind of like, this isn't working. Mm-hmm. It felt that way. And, we decided to close that chapter. Now we're extremely proud. I'm always going to be proud of everything I wrote and did with Red Sun Rising. And it's there. It's recorded forever. You can always go listen to it. But this just felt fresh. And I'm still working with Pat and Dave from the band Red Sun Rising. And those guys, as we started touring more and more as Red Sun Rising, I felt like it was always the three of us. And we had joked about it so many times, would it be cool if we were just like a 3-piece and we just did something fun on the side? Well, that came to fruition. And it's kind of like that Pygmalion effect. That's, that psychiatric study that says, like, if you focus on something, your actions start to gravitate, making that thing happen subconsciously. Yeah. So I don't know if that was part of it or not, but we're just really excited, and it feels, it's a weird time to launch a band in a pandemic, but it feels fun just to start something new and fresh.
And you know what I love too? It was sort of like the mystery band. You know, the beginning was the mystery band. Do you know? And it was strange because, you know, Red Sun, sort of a newish band, but everybody knew your vocals. Like, it wasn't necessarily a big surprise to people. Everybody's like, that's Mike from Red Sun Rising. That's Mike. And even the video, you know, had this sort of kind of mysterious vibe to it. Like, who is this band? Who is this band? I picked it up right away. What is it like? What has it been like launching new music? Now tell me, you guys made the decision. Were you guys recording when everything sort of went on, as I call it, lockdown, rockdown for, you know, for all of us?
Rockdown. I like that. Yeah, we started kind of the end of, you know, actually the fall of last year. We went down to Nashville and we did a couple, you know, like test tracks with the producer. And then the pandemic happened and we're like, well, shit, what do we do now? And so we made some investments for home recording, and, you know, I mean, my microphone's right here. And we just started like figuring it out. How can we do this remotely? And once we built that infrastructure, it was like throwing, you know, fuel on a fire. Cause we're like, now we're at home and we can work on this every day. Yeah. So it does feel strange, but at the same time, there's like this weird sense of freedom because there's no agenda. Cause, you know, we're not on a label. We're completely independent again, on purpose. And it's like, not that we're not open to taking a label at some point, but right now it's just like, there's no agenda. We're just making music and releasing it like you did in your basement when you were a kid. So it's just like, it feels so fun again. And I think, you'll really see that creativity, or through the creativity in the music when it comes out.
And you know what I love too? I think with a whole new mindset, now is a perfect time to do it. I mean, it's definitely a very brave endeavor, but it is a perfect time to do it. People are sort of rethinking the way that they're doing everything. And I love the track. I mean, Fly on the Wall is just, it's got everything that a great rock record has. It's heavy, it's hooky, it's melodic. The lyrics mean something. Talk to me a little bit about the first single that we're getting.
Well, Fly on the Wall was, the whole concept of it kind of came out of, we were kind of building this band in secrecy in a way, just because, you know, Red Sun Rising was kind of, we were kind of starting to figure out that maybe it wasn't going to continue on. And we started, meaning me, Pat, and Dave, started to create this vision for this new project. And Fly on the Wall was the first song that I kind of presented to the band, and the lyrics were kind of half there, but then they just really started making sense when I started thinking about the situation we were in. We're like, look, we're leaving this band and we're just starting something new. And, you know, like I said, I think people started to realize that, you know, these three guys were always they were always together. And it was kind of like, who was the fly on the wall that we told that to, and just didn't say anything and didn't, you know, pick up on that we were moving on. I don't know. It just kind of fell into place. And then with the pandemic thing and being like the mystery band, it just, everything kind of aligned with that in the whole meaning.
Yeah. And the harmonies on the song are so beautiful. It's great. It just has so many layers and textures. And your vocals are just tremendous. As always. So talk to me about the band's name too. Who comes up with a name? I would imagine that's probably the hardest thing to do, is to come up with a name for a new band, a new project that you feel so strongly about.
I remember like even when we were coming up with Red Sun Rising, I remember it got to the point that we came up with so many names that we were like, Red Sun Rising was on the list, and we were like, all right, it's Red Sun Rising. That's it.
Yeah, right. Just done.
And it kind of got that way with this one, except this one was a little different because, you know, our manager actually was really challenging me, like, really think about what the name means to you. And, you know, and I was thinking about the fact that I'm a pretty optimistic person. I'm a happy person. You've met me several times, and I'm
always in a good mood. Yep.
But, you know, if you listen to my lyrics, a lot of them are very dark. And someone pointed that out to me, and I came to the conclusion that that I really need music to release dark thoughts like that, to be an optimistic person and lead the life that I lead and be positive and you know, just be a good person. But, you know, there's dark thoughts constantly in my head, and I have to get them out. And the violent was kind of those violent ideas that, what if I did lock them inside and let them manifest? What would happen? I don't want to. So the violent became like the medium of releasing, to continue to release those violent ideas that could, you know, hinder me at some point.
And I love the video for Fly on the Wall. You very much look like a prize fighter getting ready to go into the ring, you know, for the next big fight. And I love it. There's just something that I really connected to, you know, with the video and everything. So how have you guys managed to make the music together, you know, kind of being on lockdown?
Ironically, about you know, speaking of the video, like that was one thing. Another thing too, same thing with the recording. We had to be like, how are we going to shoot a video?
Yeah.
Like, does everybody have an iPhone? And that's literally what we did. That's all phone footage. So I guess it's like an advertisement for Apple, but
because it's such a great video. I mean, it's a great video. You know what it is? It just fits the song perfectly. So whatever you guys had to do to get that done, I mean, it just fits. I can't think of a better thing to do for the video for the song. Thank
you. Yeah. And in the recording, like I said, we just had to all make some investments and, you know, upgrade our computers. And now there's so much cloud-based sharing systems.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of programs where we can record in real time and it changes in the cloud. And the bad thing about the pandemic is that you can't be together and you can't experience that, and that will come back. But there's some cool tech advancements. Like, look at us right now. Like, how often did you do this before the pandemic?
Yep.
Like, there's some cool things that I think will continue to happen and just be a part of life moving forward. But there's nothing going to replace like being together, and you know, concerts will be back, and going into a studio with your band and playing live shows. It's gonna be back because people crave to be around each other. We can see that on how irritating it is to be away from your friends.
Yeah. Yeah. And everybody fighting all the time. Fighting because we want to get back, and everybody wants to do it at different times and levels and everything. So talk to me about how we're going to get new music from the Violent. Is it going to be where you guys are going to release singles? Is there going to be a full project released? How is that going to work for fans that are just like, okay, I've heard Fly on the Wall. I need more. Yeah,
we're going to, an album is not really in the talk right now. But we do have a lot of songs that are like being worked on. I would say upwards of, you know, 15 that are actually actively being worked on, and about 8 are pretty much done. So I think we're just going to keep releasing music song by song, and we're getting ready to do another one, drop another one soon. And I still don't even know the date of it, but that's it. The good news is that there's no agenda, because we end it, but it's also the bad news because you're like, well, there's no deadline. So it can also drive you crazy. You're like, is it done yet? Is it done yet?
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of that is going on right now.
You know what, though? I love when bands are doing that now, because I don't necessarily know. And so many bands are putting their records on hold. I've spoken to many artists in this feature who are like, we put together such a great record and I don't know when it's going to get heard. So I love the fact that you guys will do tunes and release them as you want to release them. I mean, I think that now, if there's any time to take a left turn and to be able to do stuff like that, now is the time to do that. So I think it's absolutely perfect timing. And man, I know that this is going to be something, though, like I want to say, like, much anticipated. I cannot wait to hear what you guys have been working on, because I love Fly on the Wall. When I heard it, I was like, this is one of those things that jumps out of the radio. It jumps out of the speakers, whether you're listening to, speakers on a smart speaker or an app or however you listen to the radio anymore. I still have people that'll send me a picture of them listening to a boombox, and I'm like, I love that. I just love that. So this jumps out of the speakers. It sounds like, to me, nothing else on the radio. It's fresh, it's new, it's amazing, it's heavy, it's hooky, it's melodic. The harmonies are incredible. So what have you discovered that about yourself during the lockdown, rockdown, that you kind of like to do? I heard you like to dabble in a little bit of maybe a little cooking. You're chef. I saw that you were, making some different chicken dishes and some different things you didn't really have the time to do before.
Well, it kind of spawned from, I live in Chicago, and one of my favorite things to do in Chicago is to go try if there's a new bar that opens or a new restaurant, because it's constantly happening. Just like in New York or Jersey, there's like new things happening. I got to try this. I got to try this. And it's a very food driven city. And, when I'm at home and you can't go do it, and I'm like, well, normally I would go get Thai right now. Did I lose you?
No. I'm here.
Why is there it is. Okay.
You got me?
Yeah. Just show.
I want to hear about the Thai. Now, because I'm not getting Thai, because there's not delivery Thai by me. Are you making Thai food?
That's the thing. Yeah. So I'm like,
no.
Thai food. So I got to learn how to make it, because I can't go get it, or I can order it, I guess. But I like going out and experiencing everything. So, I had to learn how to make Thai food, and, it's just like something like that simple. And it forced me to do it. And normally I wouldn't do it. I would just go get it.
Yeah.
So that's just like one example. But I love, the skills that I'm learning, just through cooking and recording myself at home. Like, I'm going to come out of this better.
Yeah. And I can't wait till we get to see you again. You've always been so generous with listeners or coming out to the station. It doesn't matter if you guys have a show that night. You're always willing to come in and hang out and talk and play and do lunch with people and do fan meet and greets. So that part I miss, and I can't wait till we're able to do that again. And I can't wait till we're able to do it again, as friends, because I always considered you such a friend and family member of WDHA.
We're friends is because you pronounced my name correctly. And it's so simple. It's Protich, and no one says it right. I don't understand. Really? Yeah.
What have they called you?
Protich, Protich, or Protech.
Protech. I like that.
I've heard everything.
Oh, that's great. That is awesome. Mike, I'm so happy to reconnect with you. It's been a while since we've hung out, a little bit over a year. Congratulations on the amazing new project, The Violent. Say hi to Dave. Say hi to Pat. I'm glad you guys are all connected together. So is the band, and before I leave too, is the band officially the three-piece? Is it the three-piece?
We are just going to stick with a three-piece, and
yeah.
There's a lot of different instruments that we've put on these songs that you'll hear that we typically didn't put on before. But just like a band like Muse would do, if we have to get an auxiliary guy to play all the stuff, we will. But we're gonna stick with the three of us and create and we play everything on the record we've played. So we're excited about that.
I love it. I am a sucker for a power trio, for a three-piece. It's like my favorite thing ever, like bands with three members. I'm like, Rush, Winery Dogs, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, The Violent, so I love it. I'm so excited about that. I was like, oh, I hope they don't add any members, just saying, but it's so great to see your face. I love you. I'm so happy that you're doing well. We cannot wait to see you in person. And I am telling you, everybody, you got to download Fly on the Wall. Be on the lookout for The Violent. Just a great band. Everything we love about rock and roll. And Mike Protich, thank you so much, my friend. I can't wait till I get to give you a big hug again.
Real. Thanks, Terry.
Later.
Bye.
DHA's Reconnect with Rockers is powered by Advantage Contracting and by Karis Lock Company.